Every major AI release now arrives with the same ritual: a new model, a wall of benchmarks, a chart drifting up and to the right, and a promise that this one finally changes everything. GPT 5.6 arrived this month with all of that. But the most important part of the release is not that it scored a few points higher on another test, it is that the product being sold is quietly changing. The chatbot era was about getting a better answer. The next era is about handing AI a piece of work and getting something finished. OpenAI released GPT 5.6 on July 9th across ChatGPT, Codex, and its developer platform. But GPT 5.6 is not one model. It is a family with 3 permanent tiers. Sol is the flagship. Terra is the balanced option. Luna is designed for speed and lower cost. That naming decision sounds like branding, but it points to a larger shift. AI companies no longer expect one giant model to handle every request. They are building portfolios, expensive intelligence for difficult problems, efficient models for routine work, and software that decides how much effort a task deserves. For most people, that routing system may matter more than the name of the model answer. OpenAI reports that GPT 5.6 improves on its predecessor across coding, finance, research, consulting, and tool use. On the company's published agents' last exam evaluation, Sol scored 52.7% against 46.9% for GPT 5.5. On Terminal Bench 2.1, it scored 88.8% and compared with 85.6% for the previous model. Those gains are meaningful, but benchmark tables are not neutral scoreboards. The release page mixes public and internal tests, models run with different reasoning settings, and results produced inside different agent systems. OpenAI itself warns that real-world cost and latency can vary substantially from its simulations. And GPT 5.6 does not win every published comparison. On the release page's own SWE Bench Pro table, several Anthropic models score higher. So the honest takeaway is not OpenAI won, it is that leading systems are becoming uneven specialists. The best model depends increasingly on the job, the surrounding tools, the price, and how much time you are willing to. The revealing feature is not a single benchmark, it is how GPT 5.6 is meant to work. In the developer platform, OpenAI says the model can write small programs that coordinate tools and process intermediate results. It can also divide a task among multiple subagents, run work from concurrently and combine the results. In plain English, instead of repeatedly asking a model what to do next, the system is being designed to plan a workflow, use software, check its progress, and keep moving. That is a very different product from a chat box. Imagine asking for a market analysis. A chatbot gives you a polished paragraph. A work system finds the filings, checks the numbers, builds a comparison, flags uncertainty, and produces the document. The quality of the prose matters, but the ability to survive the messy middle of the task matters. There's an economic reason for Sol, Terra, and Luna. The smartest model is rarely the most sensible model for every step. You do not need frontier-level reasoning to rename files, reformat a table, or classify support tickets. But you might want it when the system has to reconcile conflicting sources or debug a complicated failure. OpenAI prices the 3 tiers accordingly. In the API, Sol costs $5 per million input tokens and $30 per million output tokens. Terra is half that price, and Luna is cheaper again. The business model is becoming clear. Use inexpensive intelligence for volume, then escalate the difficult moments to a more capable system. If that works, AI adoption is no longer limited by the price of running the best model of all. More autonomy also creates a harder failure mode. A bad chatbot answer is visible. A bad action inside a long workflow can be buried several steps deep. GPT 5.6's system cards spend significant attention on prompt injection, computer use confirmation, accidental destructive actions, cybersecurity, and whether the model's internal reasoning can be monitored. That is not a side note. It is the central trade-off. The more useful these systems become, the more access they need. The more access they have, the more expensive a quiet mistake becomes. So the real measure of the agent era will not whether an AI can complete a task once in a demo. It will be whether it knows when to stop, when to ask, and how to leave an auditable. Ordinary users, GPT 5.6 probably will feel better in familiar ways. Stronger coding, longer focus, better tool use, and fewer moments where you have to drag the model back toward the original goal. But the larger change will arrive gradually and almost invisibly. This chat window will matter less. The work canvas, the connected tools, the approval checkpoints, and the finished artifact will matter more. We will stop judging AI only by the answer it gives and start judging it by the work we did not have to read. GPT 5.6 is not proof that the agent era has arrived fully formed. Company benchmarks are not the same as independent validation, and reliable autonomy remains an unsolved problem. But the direction is difficult to miss. The AI race is moving beyond who can build the smartest chatbot. It is becoming a race to build the most useful, affordable, and trustworthy system of work. That is the shift worth